Hi students, coming to the next topic, that is the activation record. So what is this activation record? In the previous video when I am explaining about the storage organization, there I said the stack data, whatever the stack block consisting of, the data objects allocated at runtime, that you call it as an activation records. So let's see what is this. The control stack is a runtime stack. Okay, we know that it is a runtime stack because it will be, the data will be stored in the stack while at runtime, which is used to keep tracks of the live procedure activations. So while the program is executing, we are taking the information from the top of the stack and executing, and taking the top of the information at the top of the stack and executing. Means it is a live procedure. So that is the program, the stack is in activation state. It is used to find out the procedures whose execution have not been completed. Okay. So when the activation begins, then the procedure name will push onto the stack. What exactly the stack procedure? So whenever you are placing the information on the stack, if you want to execute, you are going to pop the information on the stack. So that is the activation record. So whatever you are going to be pop and executed, okay, that is you call it as an activation record. So when the activation begins, then the procedure names will push onto the stack. So first, whenever the activation is begin, the procedure name is going to be pushed onto the stack. And when returns, means whenever the activation ends, okay, whenever the activation ends, then it will be popped. Did you understand? So whenever the activation begins, the procedure name will be pushed onto the stack. So whenever the operation is over, suppose if you use that object, whenever it wants to return, that is the activation ends, then it will be popped. The activation record is used to manage the information needed by a single execution of a procedure. So this is the main concept. The activation record is used to manage the information needed by a single execution of a procedure. Okay. So an activation record is used, is pushed into the stack when a procedure is called. So whenever the procedure is called, then only the activation record is pushed onto the stack. Activation record is pushed onto the stack, into the stack, whenever the procedure is called. When it is popped, whenever the controller returns to the caller function. Suppose the program is calling, okay, it's a calling, then it will be popped. I hope you understand. It's a simple concept. You're placing, whenever the activation record is pushed into the stack, when the procedure is called, whenever the procedure is, the program is executing, then the activation records are placed on the stack. Okay, and is popped when it is going to be popped when the control returns to the caller function. Whenever the control is returned to the caller function, then it will be popped on the activation record. Now let's see the contents of activation record. What are the different contents that are present in the activation record? So here the contents of activation record is return value will be there, actual parameters, control link, access link, saved machine status, local data, and temporaries. Now let's see what are these terms of the contents of activation record. First, the return values. It is used by the called procedure to return a value to calling procedure. Returning to, from where to where you are returning the values. So the activation record is going to return the values. So in the activation record, you are having the terms return values. The content of activation record. That activation record consisting of return values. So these return value, what's the purpose of this return value? It is used by the called procedure. The called procedure is using this return value to return a value to the calling procedure. Okay. So I am the called procedure. Okay, I call the return value and I am returning that value to the calling procedure, means to you. I am calling to you. Okay, I am returning the value to you. So that activation records will return value. And the activation records consisting of actual parameters. It is used by the calling procedure to supply parameters to the called procedure. Okay, means you are supplying the parameters to the me. Okay, that is the actual parameters. Now control link. It points to the activation record of the caller. And coming to the access link, it is used to refer to non-local data held in other activation record. Then what about the saved machine status? What is the use of the saved machine status in the activation record? This content is used to hold the information about status of machine before the procedure is called. Saved machine status, the name itself is saying that it is going to save the machine status. Okay, it holds the information about the status of machine before the procedure is called. Okay, so before the procedure is calling, it's better to save what the machine status was. And next is the local data. It holds the data that is local to the execution of the procedure. And whatever the temporaries. The content of the temporaries, it stores the value that arises in the evaluation of an expression. So these are the different contents that are present in the activation record. Whenever you are asked what is an activation record, first try to explain about the stack. So the stack, it is going to push the values onto the stack. Procedure name will be pushed onto the stack, and whenever the activation ends, it will be popped. And try to write the contents of the activation record. Thank you.